Most adults over 60 mistakenly believe that retirement is a time to simply slow down and disconnect. The truth is, this approach is exactly when your cognitive health begins to face its greatest threat. Scientific evidence now confirms that the brain does not stop evolving at 60. In fact, it enters a critical phase where how you spend your time literally dictates whether your neural pathways remain resilient or begin to degrade. When you stop challenging your mind with novel tasks, you are not just relaxing. You are signaling to your brain that it no longer needs to maintain its full operational capacity. This leads to a measurable decline in executive function and memory processing speed. But here is the good news. You hold the key to reversing this trajectory. Today, we are exploring the profound impact that a deliberate, intellectually stimulating hobby has on your brain chemistry. This is not about busy work or mindless pastimes. We are talking about deep, structured engagement that creates new, lasting connections in your gray matter. By the end of this journey, you will understand exactly why your brain craves specific types of activities to remain sharp, agile, and protected against age-related decline. Let us start by looking at what happens inside the cranial cavity when you shift from passive observation to active learning. When you were younger, your brain was constantly bombarded with new information, forced to adapt to school, career shifts, and family dynamics. This natural pressure kept your neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections, in peak condition. As we enter our 60s and beyond, the default daily routine often becomes repetitive. You follow the same paths, talk to the same people, and process the same types of information. This efficiency is comfortable, but it is dangerous for the brain. The organ is biologically designed to conserve energy. When it realizes that no new challenges are emerging, it begins to prune back synaptic connections that it deems unused. This is the onset of cognitive stagnation. Studies have consistently shown that seniors who engage in high-cognition hobbies, those that require sustained focus, skill acquisition, and goal setting, exhibit significantly higher levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Think of BDNF as a high-quality fertilizer for your brain cells. It encourages the growth of new neurons and strengthens the existing architecture. Without this constant fertilization from active engagement, the mental machinery begins to rust. The surprising part is that it does not take years to reverse this. It starts the moment you introduce a truly novel challenge to your daily schedule. You might be asking, does any hobby count? The answer is a nuanced no. While all activity is better than complete inactivity, your brain is a miser. It only invests in structural growth when it absolutely has to. Watching television, even if it is a documentary or the news, is a passive endeavor. It provides information, but it does not demand that your brain construct new pathways to process that information. To truly stimulate neurogenesis, your hobby must involve three specific components: novelty, complexity, and active output. Novelty means you are doing something your brain has never encountered before. Complexity means the task has multiple layers that require planning and patience. Active output means you are creating or manipulating something rather than just consuming. Consider the difference between reading a mystery novel and learning to play a musical instrument. While reading is excellent for language preservation, learning an instrument forces your brain to synchronize visual, auditory, and motor functions simultaneously. It creates a neural symphony that is unmatched in its restorative power. Many seniors struggle to find the right entry point, fearing they're too old to learn. This is a significant misconception. Research proves that the aging brain is still remarkably capable of acquiring complex new skills if the environment is set correctly. The challenge lies in identifying which hobbies yield the highest return on your time. Let us look at a case study from geriatric psychology. We often observe seniors who have recently retired and suddenly find themselves without a job to drive their daily schedule. This period is the highest risk window for cognitive decline. We saw one subject, a 67-year-old former accountant, who decided to pick up digital photography. Initially, it was just about taking photos of his garden. However, when he started learning the post-processing software, editing lighting, balancing colors, and organizing digital files, his cognitive test scores showed a marked improvement over 6 months. Why? Because the software challenged his spatial awareness, logic centers, and patience. He was no longer just a spectator of his world. He was an architect of his visual memories. This illustrates the difference between a task and a hobby. A task is something you complete. A hobby is something you expand upon. As you grow more proficient, the complexity increases. You aren't just taking photos, you are learning composition, aperture, and shutter speed. This progression is what keeps the brain on its toes. Without the upward climb of difficulty, the brain reaches a plateau, and the benefits start to level off. If you feel that your current routine is easy, it is likely that your brain has already finished learning from it and has moved into maintenance mode, which is just another way of saying it is slowing down. The risk of inactivity is not just about memory, it is about your overall psychological resilience. When we talk about neurodegeneration, we are often talking about a lack of blood flow and poor synaptic activation. A sedentary lifestyle is the primary culprit. When you sit for long hours without a goal, your circulation slows, and the brain receives less oxygenated blood. This is not just a physical problem, it is a metabolic one. The brain consumes 20% of your body's energy. It needs constant input to justify that energy expenditure. If you provide it with none, it starts to go into a dormant state. This is why you might feel foggy or struggle to find words in the afternoon. It is not necessarily age. It is a lack of cognitive demand. Many people try to fix this by doing simple crossword puzzles. While those are helpful, they are often limited by the fact that they rely on rote knowledge. Things you already know. The most effective hobbies are those that feel slightly frustrating at first. If it is too easy, you are not growing. If it is a struggle, you are building new synapses. That feeling of, I just don't get this yet, is actually the feeling of your brain under construction. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is the healthiest discomfort you can experience. Now, let us discuss how to choose a hobby that actually sticks. The biggest mistake most people make is choosing a hobby based on what they think they should do. If you think you should learn a language because it is good for you, but you have no interest in French culture, you will quit within a month. Adherence is the most important factor in long-term cognitive health. You need a hobby that matches your personality type. If you are naturally analytical, look into activities like chess, bridge, or even coding. If you are creative, painting, sculpting, or creative writing are your best bets. If you are social, joining a choir or a debating club is ideal because social interaction is a massive, independent driver of brain health. The social aspect adds an extra layer of cognitive load. You have to listen, interpret social cues, remember names, and formulate responses. This is a full-body workout for your prefrontal cortex. Whatever you choose, ensure it has a community or a progression system. You need to see evidence of your growth. When you look back at a project you finished 2 weeks ago and realize you can do it better today, that is the most powerful feedback loop your brain can receive. It releases dopamine, which is the primary neurochemical that rewards learning and keeps you coming back for more. We need to address the elephant in the room: physical exercise. While the title of this discussion is Hobbies, we cannot separate mental health from physical movement. A hobby that combines both is the gold standard for longevity. Think of dancing, pickleball, gardening, or hiking. These activities require you to navigate space, track movement, and solve problems in real time. Dancing, in particular, has been shown in multiple studies to have a superior impact on cognitive health compared to gym-based exercise. When you dance, you are coordinating movement with rhythm, memory, the steps, and social awareness. It requires your brain to constantly make split-second decisions. This is vastly different from walking on a treadmill, where your brain can switch off and enter a robotic state. You want your hobbies to be high engagement. If you are gardening, don't just pull weeds. Study the soil. Understand the life cycles of your specific plants, and experiment with seasonal variations. Treat it as a science. Treat it as a field of study. This transition from passive leisure to active inquiry is what separates those who decline with age and those who remain sharp well into their 90s. Common mistakes often derail the best intentions. The first mistake is multitasking while engaging in a hobby. We live in a world that praises multitasking, but your brain is actually incapable of focusing on two complex tasks at once. When you try to watch a show and knit, you are doing neither well. You are simply dividing your focus, which results in shallow learning and minimal synaptic growth. Treat your hobby time as deep work. Give it your full attention for 45 minutes to an hour. The second mistake is aiming for perfection. Many seniors quit hobbies because they compare their initial efforts to the work of masters. This is the surest way to kill your motivation. Your goal is not to produce a masterpiece. Your goal is to build a healthy brain. The process is the benefit. The end result is just a souvenir. If you are struggling with a technique, celebrate the fact that you are struggling. That struggle is your brain's resistance training. It is the weightlifting of the cognitive world. If you find yourself thinking, I am not getting better, so why bother? Stop immediately and reframe the narrative. You're getting better. You're just experiencing the plateaus that are necessary for consolidation. When should you seek professional help regarding your cognitive health? It is important to distinguish between normal age-related slowing and pathological decline. If you notice that you are forgetting your keys occasionally, that is normal. If you are forgetting how to use your keys, that is a different matter. If you find that you have lost all interest in hobbies you once loved, this can sometimes be an early sign of clinical depression, which is very common in seniors and is often mistaken for cognitive decline. Do not ignore a sudden drop in your ability to perform routine tasks or a significant change in personality. A simple baseline assessment with a neurologist or a geriatrician can clear the air. Many people avoid these visits out of fear, but early detection is the single most effective tool we have. In many cases, we see that the cognitive fog people feel is actually a symptom of treatable issues like vitamin deficiencies, sleep apnea, or medication side effects. Your doctor should be a partner in your active lifestyle, not just a repairman you visit when things break. Be proactive about your brain, not just reactive. To integrate these habits into your life, start small but start today. Do not wait for retirement to begin, and if you are already retired, do not wait for Monday. Pick one thing that has always intrigued you but you were too busy to pursue. It doesn't have to be expensive or grand, it just has to be new to you. Whether it is learning how to bake artisan bread with specific hydration levels, restoring old clocks, or researching your genealogy with deep archival work, ensure that it requires study. Buy the book on it, join the forum, take the course, make it a part of your identity. When people ask what you do, have a real answer that lights you up. This sense of purpose is a massive health booster in itself. It reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that is toxic to the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory. When you have a hobby you love, you are naturally managing your stress levels. You're creating a buffer against the wear and tear of daily life. This is the secret to a long, meaningful, and cognitively intact life. As we wrap up this exploration, let us summarize the core strategy for a healthier, sharper brain after 60. First, move away from passive consumption and embrace active, complex, and novel engagement. Second, prioritize hobbies that demand your full focus and offer a clear path for progression. Third, understand that the feeling of difficulty is actually the sensation of your brain repairing and expanding itself. Fourth, don't ignore the importance of social and physical integration in your chosen activities. Finally, track your progress. Not for perfection, but for the satisfaction of knowing you are investing in your future self. You have decades of potential ahead of you, and your brain is waiting for the next challenge. Don't let it sit idle. The most important lesson is that you are not just passing the time. You are building the foundation of your cognitive legacy. Your future self will thank you for the extra effort you put in today. Start looking into a new skill tonight. Buy the materials. Sign up for the class. Take the first step. Your brain is ready, are you? We have covered the why, the how, and the what. Now, the only thing remaining is the when, which is immediately. The brain is the most resilient organ in the body, but it relies on your instructions. If you stop providing instructions, it follows the path of least resistance. Take control today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mechanics of the aging brain and want to keep your mind in peak condition, make sure you stay connected with our upcoming content. We will be analyzing how specific diets correlate with synaptic density and which daily movements are proven to reverse metabolic markers of aging. You are the custodian of your own longevity, and we are here to provide the blueprints. Take a moment to reflect on what you have learned today, and share this with someone who is currently navigating their transition into retirement. Sometimes, the right conversation is the catalyst for someone else's transformation. Remember, curiosity is the best medicine for the aging mind. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep building. Your journey to a sharper, more vibrant life continues right here.